Hey, good Wednesday morning, my friends, and welcome to another update with Friedman Adventures. It's great. I'm down here with my friend Peter, all of his friends. They're fishing the surf. I'll have some surf fishing information, some bluefin tuna information, some great events that we have coming up. And also, we are going to talk about how important it is to stay cool because we've got a big heat wave coming up. So if you're an old guy like me or your pets and everything else, we'll cover that. First of all, I've got to tell you, last night, Sam De La Torre from Island Fishing in Carson, California, did a podcast with yours truly. It was magnificent. Sam is such a great person, a really kind human being, and he shared some of his intimate knowledge about how you can catch more and bigger fish, and it was fantastic. And I want to thank all of you out there. The questions poured in for 2.5 hours last night. I didn't think we were ever going to get out of there because I was going to run that podcast until we hit our last question. And kind of when that last question jump was up there, I kind of shut the show down. I got a feeling if I would have blah, blah, blah a little bit more, there would have been even more questions. It was a great show. Highly recommend that you go back and give it a listen. Highly recommend you go by Island Tackle in Carson, California, like I think I'm going to do on Thursday around 2 p.m. That's the plan anyway. Sometimes things go astray. Well, it's a foggy morning here in SoCal, as you can see, but it's already starting to burn off. I can feel the heat of the sun, and it feels like it's going to be warm today, which it is. And I mentioned there's a heat wave, and you know, for young people, you don't have to worry about it so much. You do want to stay hydrated, but for older people, pets, it's going to get up to like 95 degrees in some areas. May push up to 100. Now, on the positive side, for our fishing, there will definitely be some solar warming in the next few days. And I've got a sneaking suspicion that this surf fishing thing could really start to turn on. Peter and his friends here had some Corbina late after I left yesterday. And as smart fishermen, they did an autopsy to find out what it is that the Corbina are feeding on. I mentioned yesterday that they love to feed on bean clams, and if you find a patch of those, it's a good place to fish. So the answer is, what were the Corbina feeding on? And the answer is grunion. The Corbina that they opened up had several grunion inside. So during the open season, right now it's closed, you can't take any grunion. But during the open season, if you froze some grunion, like I did, I got a whole freezer full, then that is a good bait to be fishing in the surf, like a double hook rig with a piece of grunion. Cut those grunion in half. That could get you some nice big Corbina. If there's any spot fin croaker around, they bite it. Yellowfin croaker bite it. Halibut bite it. As Dave Hansen says, what eats grunion? Everything. And so, once again, these fish were on the grunion, and this solar warming is going to help things out. The tides are not all that great. There's a high tide this afternoon around 2, and there's not much movement at all. You can still catch fish, don't get me wrong. And in fact, these guys are fishing on the low right now. The rods are out behind me. Fingers crossed that they catch one before I finish up with this update. All right, let's get into bluefin tuna. New Loan with a spectacular trip, a 1.75 day trip. And my buddy, Gary Woodrum, who works on board, Captain Gary Woodrum, who works on the Freedom out of 22nd Street Landing, was there for the action. Gary said it was a night bite. They didn't catch one fish during the daytime. It was all at night. Most of those bluefin tuna were 25. Morning. Most of those fish were 25 to 40 pounds. They had them as big as 80, but the vast majority, 25 to 40, just a beautiful grade of bluefin tuna. I mean, I know there's those 200 and 300, and guys like Bobby Tapton on the Top Gun 80 are saying we'll probably get a 400 this year, but I refuse to get spoiled on a beautiful 25 to 40 pound bluefin tuna. They were fishing down there off Ensenada, and it was those knife jigs that worked the best at night. Great fishing. Here we go. Our bluefin tuna fishing season is starting to go. Remember, Mexican seiners, they're done for the year. They've reached their quota, so you do not have that seiner pressure, which bodes well for an incredible bluefin tuna year. And you add some albacore to that, I know, I'm not predicting it yet. Give me a little bit more time. But you add some albacore to this situation, and you are going to have a season you will never ever want to forget. Do we go for albacore? Do we go for bluefin? Are they in the same area? Do we get to fish both of them? Well, I'll go back to Bobby Taft on the Top Gun 80, and Bobby seems pretty positive that we have a really excellent chance at albacore this year, and I concur on the amount of anchovy we're seeing, the cooler water, all bodes well for those long fins to move in, so fingers crossed on that one. Also, in May, we're going to probably get a much better look as to whether the water's going to get too warm and chase any possibility of albacore out of here, or it's going to stay cool. And if it stays cool, once again, we've got a very good shot at it. Now, my friend Arnie, who has a beautiful little boat down there in Ensenada, he is going out on Thursday. And Arnie said and declared on the Friedman Adventures podcast last night, he said, bluefin tuna season is officially here in Ensenada. Those fish are only 18 miles away from us. I'm going on Thursday. Now, the weather was a little nautical, a little snotty down there the last few days. Arnie's thinking it's going to be much better on Thursday. Tomorrow promises an update, a video update. Love him. He's doing a great job. Diego Nuno, who works on the Royal Star out of San Diego. He also has an 18-foot Parker down there in Ensenada. Costa Baja is how you can find him on Facebook. Arnie Sport Fishing is how you can find Arnie. And as soon as that bluefin tuna thing becomes a reality, they're going to be pointing their bows toward that. And both of these gentlemen do a great job, fish hard, know what they're doing. You would have a great time indeed. Doug Rubin. Good morning, Doug. Hope you're doing well. It's so good to hear from you on the show last night. And Doug says, hey, we've been catching yellowtail at La Jolla. So Doug says there's yellows there at La Jolla. That's another good sign. Here it goes. The springtime is really starting to kick into gear. This solar warming that we're going to have is going to be very important, and we'll see what happens. I think we're going to have some water temps up there in the mid-60s by the end of this. That could be the mechanism that triggers some really excellent fishing. Maybe the Coronado Islands will get more consistent. We've got that La Jolla bite going on. We've got tuna down there in Ensenada, and previous to this nautical weather, we had some good trolled Rapala style fishing on yellows for Arnie and several of the local Ensenada guys. So that is really fantastic, and hopefully that's going to continue to head in the right direction. Surf fishing should also improve. I think halibut fishing may kick up a little bit. Corbina has really been vastly improved even over last year. Last year was a very poor year along many of the Southern California beaches. I talked to Tino Valentine, who runs the Freedom, Captain Tino, and Tino, I think he loves that more than anything, stalking those beautiful California Corbina. They are like a bonefish. They are so fun to catch. They fight hard. They're discriminating feeders, so you got to work hard, drop your mono down. They're in the shallow water, so you can see them. You have a good pair of polarized glasses. You can see those fish as they're making their way up the coast. And there's so many different ways to take them. And of course, I'm going to do an entire video here really soon on Corbina fishing, how to be successful. Once you do it, you'll love it. You can come down here literally with a trout rod and have so much fun. You can fly line a sand crab, you can fish sandworms that you can dig out of the sand here. All really, really good. By the way, Peter and these guys, they take a scientific approach to fishing the surf. So he's got some buddies down this way. They are all fishing sandworms that they dug up out of the sand here. And Peter and his buddy here are fishing with sand crabs. So they're trying to see what's going to work best. Remember, those sandworms show up when we have grunion runs. When the grunion lay their eggs here in the surf, those sandworms feed on those eggs. And they are just a beautiful, perfect bait. They work so very well. And remember, you know, when grunion are laying their eggs, it's extreme high tides normally. So you're going to find those sandworms sometimes way, way, way up in the, seems like it's very dry on a day like this where the tides are not going to be very high. You'll find them way up. So you got to look around and try to figure it out. And we'll have a sandworm finding video for you here real soon, because it really makes a big difference to your success. It can really work well for you. All right, I'm waiting for these guys to catch a fish. We need a fish on camera today. They said it was later yesterday after I left. They had those Corbina. All right, charters are starting to sell out Next availability, July the 5th, 6 spots open on the Pride. Super beautiful little boat. We're going to limit to 14 anglers, and yours truly will be there to shoot a video and create a memory for you that will last a lifetime. That's such, I mean, there's so many possibilities on that trip. It's ridiculous. That's why I'm so high on that trip. First of all, it's a weekday trip, as we normally do. We get away from the boat pressure that way. I know if you're going to spend your sport fishing dollar, that you know, if you have to take a day or two off work, it makes a difference to fish weekdays. That's why I do weekdays. I'm going to do a few more weekends just so I can fish with the guys that only have weekends off. I get that, but this looks good. It looks good for a variety of species. And so if something doesn't pan out the way I think it will, we have all these other possibilities. I think white sea bass, number one, is an incredible opportunity for us. At least one of the 2 days that we're fishing on board the Pride. Yellowtail fishing ought to be great at some of the local islands. It should be really good at Clemente. Even Catalina's a possibility. 2-day trip, we can go up to the Channel Islands. We can fish out there at Clemente. We can fish Nicholas. We can fish SBI, Santa Barbara Island. And of course, we could go south and catch bluefin tuna if we have to. We can catch kelp patty fish if they're on the bite. If there's any albacore around, we'll be on that. Tanner Bank, of course, was the epicenter of such great bluefin tuna fishing last year. That is all within our range. That's why I like 2-day trips. That's why I like fishing during the week. And that's why you ought to grab one of these last 6 spots on board the Pride. If you'd like our list of charters, I can send it to you. Just send me a text. Tell me to send you the list. The phone number is 657-227-6459. And I will send you the list, and we will get you hooked up on some great trips. I can't wait for these trips that are coming up. Endeavor later this month, up there with my friend Tucker McCombs out of Ventura Sport Fishing. They just had a whack at halibut, nice big halibut. They had a sea bass, nice white sea bass. All of that squid that made its home there for much of the winter time is starting to pay off. That magnet that attracts game fish like sea bass and halibut and yellowtail, that's all starting to come together. I'm looking for some big stuff there out of Ventura this week, and of course we'll have those updates for you right here on our morning updates. Man, that operation is great. Ventura Sport Fishing, don't forget the local boat, California. They do a great job. Steve Virtue runs that thing, and they fish half day and do such a great job. And then Cody Rogers over there on the Island Spirit, 3/4 day fishing. Those local trips are great. It's a wonderful way to introduce kids and family members to fishing. And again, their whitefish bite and everything else has been truly outstanding up there in that neck of the woods. Elsewhere, up and down the coast, there's been some really good rock fishing, which could change here with this solar warming that we're going to have. So hopefully that's going to really take effect here very, very soon. It's going to be hot, so we'll see what kind of benefits and dividends that pays. All right. Want to mention to you that our live show last night was fantastic. So many of you tuned in. You can ask questions next Tuesday night, 7 p.m. Mark Paisano Sr., who has just returned from Hannibal Bank off of Panama. Wow, did they have great fishing. He's going to talk about that with you next Tuesday night. You can ask him questions. He's going to talk about some great fishing going on the Independence right now out on Hurricane Bank. He's going to talk to you about some emergency situations they had recently on the Independence, and he'll also talk to you about how his life changed. I haven't asked him the question, so maybe it hasn't, but I assume that it has after the meeting with Desiree, the little 9-year-old girl that him and Paul Strasser saved at sea 35 years ago. If you haven't seen that reunion video, you owe it to yourself to check it out. We got on the front page of the New York Times, LA Times, People Magazine. We were on the CBS Evening News, and the reason why is because it's such a dramatic moment. It's such a wonderful moment in many ways. And these 3 people, Desiree Rodriguez, Paul Strasser, Mark Paisano, are truly great human beings, and it's an honor for me to be able to call them all my friends. So if you haven't seen that video, check it out. It is absolutely mind-boggling. And of course, Mark will be talking about that and so much more. And then on the 19th, the following Tuesday, Chad from Hookup Baits is going to be in studio to answer your questions. Chad will tell you how to catch more trout using hookup baits, more sand bass, more calico bass, more rockfish, yellowtail. He's going to tell you how to catch more yellowtail. He's convinced and says that you can catch more yellowtail fish in a hookup bait than anything else. So we'll turn it over to Chad. You'll be able to ask lots of questions, and it should be really, really great. All right, some events I don't have dates on, so why am I mentioning it? I don't know. I just thought I'd mention it. But we're going to have a surf fishing day down here really soon. I'll let you know. I'm going to look at the tides, find a nice day. It'll be a weekend, and you can come down. We'll give you some tutorials on how to surf fish, all free, by the way. We'll give you some tutorials, show you what to do. I'll bring some frozen grunion down. We'll stop by my favorite place, Big Fish Bait and Tackle. You should too before you come over here. You can pick up some bait. You can pick up some crocodiles. You can do whatever it is that will make your day more productive and more fun. Bring the kids. If they want to just play around in the beach, you just want to come down and have a cup of coffee and hang out, we'll do all of that. That's going to be right around Anderson Street and Pacific Coast Highway. We'll meet on the beach, spend a couple hours together, and it should be really, really great. So that's coming up. And then down in Rosarito Beach, Baja California, my good friend Gerardo Delgado, he's got a great event planned. We're working with him. He has the Del Mar Inn there in Rosarito Beach. He has a beautiful pool. He's got a new bar, and he's got this beautiful grill. You go out and catch fish anywhere around there. You bring it to him. He'll cook it for you. And we'll do a podcast with Gerardo while you guys are behind me dining and having a great time and enjoying Baja hospitality, fresh cooked fish. It should really be a great event. And then I need to talk to Mike Morrison about this. Mike, are you listening? The manager at 22nd Street Landing, but trying to put together maybe a weekly meeting at 22nd Street, a little coffee in the morning. We'll just sit around and rap and talk and figure out what fishing is like. You have some fishing questions, we'll do that. I'm going to have experts down there like Sam De La Torre from Island Tackle. He'll be down there to answer all your questions and get you up to snuff. All right, there you have it. Guys, Peter's winding in, but it doesn't look like he's got a fish. It's early. Hopefully they'll get going. Once again, sandworms this way, sand crabs this way. These guys really, really work hard at it. It's always a pleasure to be with you. Now, please follow us on Instagram, on TikTok, Facebook. We're on all of those platforms, updating you every single day. You can find our charter information on Facebook. It's Friedman Adventures on Facebook. Go over there and follow us, please. And don't forget to get more folks to subscribe to the channel. I know you've already done it, and I deeply appreciate it because we are growing so fast, getting so many views, and I owe that all to each and every one of you, and I thank you from the bottom of my heart. All right, Phil Friedman here. It's foggy, it's starting to burn off, it's going to get really hot. What will that solar warming do to our bite? I'll be back again really soon with another update. Take care, and thanks again for everything.